Alright, and I did my sound checks off camera before starting play, so off to a good start. Let's keep going on the EngineerKit series. I'll turn on my treadmill and I'll bring up what I was doing on it before. So before I was just trying to make a simple edit to this file, but my local settings were all screwed up. I couldn't use the tab key without it going between the panes. So it was a giant pain, and I fixed that now. So let's keep going on this EngineerKit series. So I'm going to work off of my fork of it because then I can change things as much as I want. So let's go to the modules. We can see I've got modifications here to the infrastructure module. I might have lost my... Yeah, I lost all my extensions that I had, but that was the point. Like, if I really need it, I want to add it again. So I've got the Wassel extension so that I can do the code command here. Basically, I want to know what's on my computer and why. And if there's no good reason for it to be on my computer, I don't want it to be on my computer. So yeah, now I can do code package.json. It's because that command code comes from an extension in Visual Studio Code. All right, so let's get a package for Markdown. So here's one, Markdown Preview. It's got a 4.5. Here's one that has a better rating here, but it only has 41 reviews. This has 100. Let's take a look at the screenshot. Okay, yeah, I don't think I need I don't think I need it to look like that. Yeah, this will be totally fine. So let's install this one. All right, and then let's go to the infrastructure, and now I can right click and I go to Markdown Preview. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. We got our learning objectives here, and we've got our resources here. So let's take a look at the changes I've got. Okay, so I can get rid of all those changes. All right, and then let's go and mark something as done. So here's all the things that are not done. This is the cloud provider's topic of infrastructure. So now one thing is done. We did watch this video. It's a very short video, so I'm tempted to just watch it again because there's a lot of information
Amazon
in it.
Web Services.
I also would like to make my own notes. So we can go click edit here, and we can actually edit it in the preview. But I'm okay editing it there. We can see the line number 32, so I'll just make an edit here. Yeah, so I'd like to do notes like this. Let's talk to the AI about Markdown for a bit. So we're going to say, give me a Markdown cheat sheet. Specifically, I'd like to add a notes section to this. As part of my completion of each thing. So tell me how I can do that in a clean and static way.
Markdown is a lightweight markup language that allows you to add formatting elements to plain text documents. Here's a quick cheat sheet for basic Markdown syntax that you can use to add a notes section aesthetically under your resources section. Markdown cheat sheet for adding a notes section. Headings. Use hashtag for headings. The number of hashtag you use will determine the level of the heading. For a subheading under resources, you can use hashtag to make it smaller than your hashtag heading. Bullet points. Use or for bullet points. This can be useful for listing individual notes. Checkboxes. Since you have a not done label, you might want to use checkboxes to mark completion. Links. Use link text, URL, to add hyperlinks. Emphasis. Use or underscore for italics, single, and or underscore for bold, double. Block quotes. Use to add block quotes for longer notes or quotes. Code. Use backticks for inline code and triple backticks for blocks of code. Block of code. Horizontal rules. Use dash for a horizontal rule to separate sections. Adding the notes section to your existing Markdown based on the elements above. Here's how you can add a notes section under your current resources section. When rendered, the notes section will provide an organized and clean addition to your document, allowing you to keep track of your thoughts and progress on each resource.
Oh, okay. Alright, yeah, I can do it that way. So what is the...
In Markdown, the underscore symbol is used for creating emphasis in the text, similar to asterisks. Here's how it works. A single underscore before and after a word or phrase, like word underscore, will italicize the text, rendering it as word. Double underscores before and after a word or phrase, like word underscore, will bold the text, rendering it as word. So, the underscore syntax is for italicizing and the underscore syntax is for bolding when using them in pairs around words or phrases. For example, it's also worth mentioning that in some Markdown renderers, underscores within words might cause unexpected formatting because they can be interpreted as an emphasis command. For instance, in some text with underscores, the text may end up being italicized. To prevent this, you might need to use backslashes to escape the underscores, some text with underscores, or just use asterisks instead for italics and bold formatting to avoid confusion.
Okay, there we go. Now we've got a notes section, completion notes section, and I can even make this maybe bigger. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that looks good. Let's commit that. So adding completion notes section. Oh, okay. I don't think I have... Oh, it is open to here. Why is it not... Interesting. It looks like I edited this file here, but oh, you know what? This is the wrong file. This is a working tree file. All right. that was a file that no longer exists. So let's look at the markdown, and that's my sedentary timer. You know what? I am gonna take that. So all right. So I'm sedentary for a while. That's perfectly fine. Okay. So now the next step is going to be yeah, I want to see if this bar, does that make sense to have right like that? Yeah, line before and after. Okay, I like that better. Um, yeah, so let's hopefully the version control works now. Still a problem. What the heck? That's so weird. Oh, you know what? The problem was that I don't have autosave selected yet, so we can see that through here. If I click Control S, then it changes to the X, so the symbol saying that it wasn't saved was not checked because I did everything from scratch. So all my actually good settings that I want, I have to retoggle. And the cool thing is, like, once I get it to be working really the way I want, I think what I could probably do is put my VS Studio Code up on so /a. So yeah, it's this VS-code, or like there should be some kind of settings files that I can put on GitHub, and then anywhere I'm working in the world, any device, I can just do a git clone and pull down my so it could be git clone rems personal settings, and just pull that down anywhere I'm in the world, and then I'll have like even like Docker files, Azure files, whatever file I want, just for the aesthetic stuff, like what extensions are installed and stuff. I want to get installed. I'm pretty sure I can set it up that way. That is going to be my goal. It might be a while before I get there. Let's see what's in .vs Code server. Yeah, so there are extensions in here. So now the extensions I added are in there. The Markdown preview extension is in there, and then the other extension should be in there as well. So the other extension I have installed is the Wassel extension. Okay, so yeah, here's all the extensions with their identifiers. So we should have the Wassel extension listed as well. Don't have it. Let's see if we can get a JSON extension to format those. So like a beautify JSON. So this is low ratings, low scores, low ratings, low scores. High rating, high score, high downloads. I feel like this is a good one. I don't want to mess up my, like, I think it's fine. I'm pretty sure there's a way to. Is there a way to use Visual Studio Code default settings to make JSON look more pretty without installing an extension? If not, then which extension works the best for it?
Yes, Visual Studio Code, VS Code has built-in JSON formatting capabilities that allow you to prettify JSON without the need for any additional extensions. Here's how you can format JSON using VS Code's default settings. Open your JSON file in VS Code. Ensure that your file is recognized as JSON by VS Code. You can check this by looking at the language mode indicator in the bottom right corner of the window. It should say JSON. If it doesn't, click on the language mode indicator and select JSON from the list of languages. Once your file is recognized as JSON, you can format it by using the Format Document feature. This can be done in several ways. Right-click anywhere in the document and select Format Document from the context menu. Press the Shift+Alt+F keyboard shortcut on Windows or Shift+Option+F on Mac OS. Go to the main menu, select View, then Command Palette, and start typing Format Document.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So I guess so maybe why my tab key got messed up and why everything wasn't working is I would just willy-nilly install all these extensions. You know, I don't know what these extensions are, who they were made by. I just know the title of them and stuff. I'm not looking at like the actual code or whatever. So I don't trust those extensions. If I can do it in a way like this, which is awesome, then I'm going to do it that way. So which is kind of interesting because I have it. So let me ask you this. So what about for Markdown? Is there a way to do a similar thing to see like a Markdown preview or whatever without installing an extension in Visual Studio Code?
Yes, Visual Studio Code provides built-in support for Markdown, including a live Markdown preview feature.
Really?
You don't need to install any extensions to use it. To open the Markdown preview, follow these steps. Open the Markdown file with a MD extension in VS Code. You can now preview your Markdown file in several ways. Click on the Open Preview to the side icon in the upper right corner of the editor. It looks like a little split window. Use the Ctrl+Shift+V shortcut on Windows and Linux, or CMD+Shift+V on Mac OS to open the preview in the current editor group. Use the Ctrl+KV, Windows/Linux, or CMD+KV, Mac OS, to open the preview to the side in a new editor group. The Markdown preview updates in real time as you edit the Markdown source file. This feature is quite useful for ensuring that your Markdown formatting appears as expected before sharing or publishing the document. VS Code also provides additional Markdown support such as syntax highlighting and outlining, making it a convenient editor for Markdown files even without any additional extensions.
How do you do that? So you open it with an MD. On the Open Preview to side in the upper right corner of the editor. Whoa, cool, and it's in black too. That's awesome. Without ChatGPT, I would not know any of this. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay, so yeah, I think this looks good. This is the infrastructure module. So yeah, I've got everything not done, and then I've got completion notes here. So let's watch the video one more time, and then let's take some completion notes. So this is the Kubernetes explained in 100 seconds video right here. And we can use the checkbox. I think that's fine. I don't know. It seems a bit too easy to uncheck. And I just like this. I'm used to looking at this. So let's do it this way. It is possible to use a checkbox there though. So let me think here. Right. Okay. So completion notes about this this video here. Kubernetes explained in 100 seconds. Okay, so this will have notes for the tutorials and the videos. So, all right.
Amazon Web Services launched in 2006 with a total of 3 products: storage buckets, compute instances, and a messaging queue. Today, it offers a mind-numbing 200 and something services. And what's most confusing is that many of them appear to do almost the exact same thing. It's kind of like shopping at a big grocery store where you have different aisles of product categories filled with things to buy that meet the needs of virtually every developer on the planet. In today's video, we'll walk down these aisles to gain an understanding of over 50
That's messed up. See, now this is a tangent. I'm going to keep this short, but it's like, I feel like when you have this many choices, first of all, you know, if people kind of know more about the United States economy, you're choosing between different products, right? But you're not choosing between different companies. Like no matter what you're buying, it's manufactured by just a few companies, and it's just the illusion that you have radically different choices. You're choosing between different products made at the same company, probably with the same gear, or probably with the same people behind it, and it just looks different. It's not truly a complete different choice using all different philosophies, all different gear, so first of all, it's not even a choice between distinctly different things. And then second of all, and this is way off topic, I'm going to try to get back on topic soon. Not all the like you don't have a real, you have a choice, a real choice to make bad choices. Like it's not like you're choosing between something good and something good, and whatever choice you make is like about equivalent of the other. No, it's one company saying you can buy the poison or you can buy the magic pixie dust. Which one do you want? Hey, our poison, let's do 20% off. Oh, poison tastes great. Have the poison. It's like, why are you even putting that in front of me? I don't want to. I only want to be able to buy the magic dust that gives me superpowers. Don't even put the poison in the stores. Like, why is this even a thing? So anyway, that's kind of a tangent. I'm going to try to keep on track. That's kind of sometimes it's good to lay out your biases, because you kind of, you know, confirmation bias is a thing, and you kind of have to get around that sometimes to get to the truth. So I'm biased to think that this sort of thing is inherently exploitative and destructive. So I'm gonna have to try to get beyond that to really hear what this video has to say.
different AWS products. So first, let's start with a few that are above my pay grade that you may not know exist. If you're building robots, you can use RoboMaker to simulate and test your robots at scale. Then once your robots are in people's homes, you can use IoT Core to collect data from them, update their software, and manage them remotely. If you happen to have a satellite orbiting Earth, you can tap into Amazon's global network of antennas to connect data through its ground station service. And if you want to start experimenting and researching the future of computing, you can use Bracket to interact with a quantum computer. But most developers go to the cloud to solve more practical problems. And for that, let's head to the compute aisle. One of the original AWS products
that put me down. I can't. I was not expecting to see that. Anyone who didn't see the video, they showed I guess a meme of someone failing, but it was a woman trying to ride a shopping cart and just eating it face down in the cart. And it's like, I don't know, that's hard for me to watch, because that struck me as a broken nose, at least.
Was Elastic Compute Cloud. It's one of the most fundamental building blocks on the platform and allows you to create a virtual computer in the cloud. Choose your operating system, memory.
Okay, so EC2, say virtual computer in the AWS, the cloud. It is one of the most fundamental services offered. And that makes sense, because why buy someone a laptop and ship it to them? Why buy someone what have you and ship it to them? Just rent this instance and with their own device gear they already have. This is what they work on. So I could see myself using this. If I wanted somebody to work on somebody instead of buying and mailing them a piece of hardware. If they already have it and they're all ready to go, just buy them a EC2 instance, or for whatever reason. I could see this being useful.
And computing power, then you can rent that space in the cloud like you're renting an apartment that you pay for by the second.
Yeah, so like it's like renting. Yeah, so it is like renting an apartment instead of buying a house.
A common use case is to use an instance as a server for a web application, but one problem is that as your app grows, you'll likely need to distribute traffic across multiple instances. In 2009, Amazon introduced elastic load balancing, which allowed developers to distribute traffic to multiple instances automatically.
Yeah, so elastic load balancing is another mental service that solves the problem of scaling up things hosted on an EC2 instance. It allows for load balancing across instances.
In addition, the CloudWatch service can collect logs and metrics from each individual instance. The data collected from CloudWatch can then be passed off to Autoscale.
There's just so many. I mean, he's going to go through like 20 different services, so I don't know if and then CloudWatch is for
in which you define policies that create new instances as they become needed based on the traffic and utilization of your current infrastructure. These tools were revolutionary at the time, but developers still wanted an easier way to get things done, and that's where Elastic Beanstalk comes in. Most developers in 2011 just wanted to deploy a Ruby on Rails app. Elastic Beanstalk made that much easier by providing an additional layer of abstraction on top of EC2 and other auto-scaling features. Choose a template, deploy your code, and let all the auto-scaling stuff happen automatically. This is often called a platform as a service, but in some cases, it's still too complicated. If you don't care about the underlying infrastructure whatsoever and just want to deploy a WordPress site, Lightsail is an alternative option where you can point and click at what you want to deploy and worry even less about the underlying configuration. In all these cases, you are deploying a static server that is always running in the cloud. But many computing jobs are ephemeral, which means they don't rely on any persistent state on the server, so why bother deploying a server for code like that? In 2014, Lambda came out, which are functions as a service, or serverless computing. With Lambda, you simply upload your code, then choose an event that decides when that code should run. Traffic scaling and networking are all things that happen entirely in the background, and unlike a dedicated server, you only pay for the exact number of requests and computing time that you use. Now, if you don't...
Oh, okay, so you can kind of, so alternately... Alternately, if you just need to do specific sort of things, just those things, such as
cloud. But many computing jobs are ephemeral, which means they don't rely on any persistent state on the server, so why bother deploying a server for code like that? In 2014, Lambda came out, which are functions as a service, or serverless computing. With Lambda, you simply upload your code, then choose an event that decides when that code should run. Traffic scaling and network.
Okay. This is called AAS functions as a service, serverless computing. This is for ephemeral applications and code where an entire server is that can do multiple things besides the ephemeral functions will go to waste, will be wasteful.
Networking are all things that happen entirely in the background, and unlike a dedicated server, you only pay for the exact number of requests and computing time that you use. Now, if you don't like writing your own code, you can use the serverless app.
Billing is also more. Billing is also billing is more granular.
Application repository to find pre-built functions that you can deploy with the click of a button. But what if you're a huge enterprise with a bunch of its own servers? Outpost is a way to run AWS APIs on your own infrastructure without needing to throw your old servers in the garbage. In other cases, you may want to interact with AWS from remote or extreme environments, like if you're a scientist in the Arctic. Snow devices are like little mini data centers that can work without internet in hostile environments. So that gives us some fundamental ways to compute things, but many apps today are standardized with Docker containers, allowing them to run on multiple different clouds or computing environments with very little effort. To run a container, you first need to create a Docker image and store it somewhere. Elastic Container Registry allows you to upload an image, allowing other tools like Elastic Container Service to pull it back down and run it. ECS is an API for starting, stopping, and allocating virtual machines to your containers, and allows you to connect them to other products like load balancers. Some companies may want more control over how their app scales, in which case EKS is a tool for running Kubernetes. But in other cases, you may want your containers to behave in a more automated way. Fargate is a tool that will make your containers behave like serverless functions, removing the need to allocate EC2 instances for your.
Okay, so Fargate.
Your containers. But if you're building an application and already have it containerized, the easiest way to deploy it to AWS is App Runner. This is a new product in 2021 where you simply point it to a container image while it handles all of the orchestration and scaling behind the scenes. But running an application is only half the battle. We also need to store data in the cloud. Simple Storage Service, or S3, was the very first product offered by AWS. It can store any type of file or object like an image or video, and is based on the same infrastructure as Amazon's e-commerce site. It's great for general purpose file storage, but if you don't access your files very often, you can archive them in Glacier, which has a higher latency but a much lower cost. On the other end of the spectrum, you may need storage that is extremely fast and can handle a lot of throughput. Elastic Block Storage is ideal for applications that have intensive data processing requirements, but requires more manual configuration by the developer. Now, if you want something that's highly performant and also fully managed, Elastic File System provides all the bells and whistles, but at a much higher cost. In addition to raw files, developers also need to store structured data for their end users. And that brings us to the database aisle, which has a lot of different products to choose from. The first ever database on AWS was SimpleDB, a general purpose NoSQL database, but it tends to be a little too simple for most people.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
It was followed up a few years later with DynamoDB, which is a document database that's very easy to scale horizontally. It's inexpensive and provides fast read performance, but it isn't very good at modeling relational data. If you're familiar with MongoDB, another document database option is DocumentDB. It's a controversial option that's technically not MongoDB, that has a one-to-one mapping of the MongoDB API to get around restrictive open source licensing. Speaking of which, Amazon also did a similar thing with Elasticsearch, which itself is a great option if you want to build something like a full-text search engine. But the majority of developers out there will opt for a traditional relational SQL database. Amazon Relational Database Service.
All right, so, but according to his poll, I don't know if his poll
RDS supports a variety of different SQL flavors and can fully manage things like backups, patching, and scale. But Amazon also offers its own proprietary flavor of SQL called Aurora. It's compatible with Postgres or MySQL and can be operated with better performance at a lower cost. In addition, Aurora offers a new serverless option that makes it even easier to scale, and you only pay for the actual time that the database is in use. Relational databases are a great general purpose option, but they're not the only option. Neptune is a graph database that can achieve better performance on highly connected datasets, like a social graph or recommendation engine. If your current database is too slow, you may want to bring in Elastic Cache, which is a fully managed version of Redis, an in-memory database that delivers data to your end users with extremely low latency. If you work with time series data, like the stock market for example, you might benefit from TimeStream, a time series database with built-in functions for time-based queries and additional features for analytics. Yet another option is the Quantum Ledger database, which allows you to build an immutable set of cryptographically signed transactions, very similar to decentralized blockchain technology. Now let's shift gears and talk about analytics. To analyze data, you first need a place to store it, and a popular option for doing that is Redshift, which is a data warehouse that tries to get...
Is it not? Can't you just store it in the S3 or whatever?
You to shift away from Oracle. Warehouses are often used by big enterprises to dump multiple data sources from the business.
Why do you need a place to store data you want to analyze? So let me see. Why do you? I said what instead of why. So why do you need a place to store data you want to analyze if you already have your data stored in places such as S3 or in archiving services? And this hasn't been working for me lately.
Where they can be analyzed together. When all your data is in one place, it's easier to generate meaningful analytics and run machine learning on it. Data in a warehouse is structured so it can be queried, but if you need a place to put a large amount of unstructured data, you can use AWS Lake Formation, which is a tool for creating data lakes or repositories that store a large amount of unstructured data, which can be used in addition.
Okay, maybe that's why. Because if you want to do a data analysis, you probably don't want that data to persist beyond the analysis, or like you don't want to, because you're going to create, like, a lake is a good word for it, because like you're going to be storing a lot of data and analyzing a lot of data that you don't need unless you're analyzing it. So like to just keep that in your S3 bucket would probably take up like a whole data center. And so like they have a special way to have data set up so that it can be analyzed, and that's not the same way as setting it up so it can be backed up or what have you, or used in an application process.
to data warehouses to query a larger variety of data sources. If you want to analyze real-time data, you can use Kinesis to capture real-time streams from your infrastructure, then visualize them in your favorite business intelligence tool. Or you can use a stream processing framework like Apache Spark that runs on Elastic MapReduce, which itself is a service that allows you to operate on massive datasets efficiently with a parallel distributed algorithm. Now, if you don't want to use Kinesis for streaming data, a popular alternative is Apache Kafka. It's open source, and Amazon MSK is a fully managed service to get you started. But for the average developer, all this data processing may be a little too complicated. Glue is a serverless product that makes it much easier to extract, transform, and load your data. It can automatically connect to other data sources on AWS like Aurora, Redshift, and S3, and has a tool called Glue Studio so you can create jobs without having to write any actual source code. But one of the biggest advantages of collecting massive amounts of data is that you can use it to help predict the future. And AWS has a bunch of tools in the machine learning aisle.
And that's like, that cannot be understated in my opinion. Like, you can predict the future now, I think, better than anyone ever could before. I think. I don't know, it's hard to predict. It's the future after all. But I feel like that is something that is like real and valuable.
To make that process easier. But first, if you don't have any high quality data of your own, you can use the data exchange to purchase and subscribe to data from third-party sources. Once you have some data in the cloud, you can use SageMaker to connect to it and start building machine learning models with TensorFlow or PyTorch.
But at the same time, I think the current predictions of the future are kind of devastating when it comes to X risks and S risks.
Operates on multiple levels to make machine learning easier, and provides a managed Jupyter notebook that can connect to a GPU instance to train a machine learning model, then deploy it somewhere useful. That's cool, but building your own ML models from scratch is still extremely difficult. If you need to do image analysis, you may as well just use the Recognition API. It can classify all kinds of objects and images and is likely way better than anything that you would build on your own. Or if you want to build a conversational bot, you might use Lex, which runs on the same technology that powers Alexa devices. Or if you just want to have fun and learn how machine learning works, you might buy a Deep Racer device, which is an actual race car that you can drive with your own machine learning code. Now, that's a pretty amazing way to get people to use your cloud platform. But let's change direction and look.
Another question I have for the AI, and I want to talk to the AI actually. So let's bring that up. So like, who gets that? Like, where? Like, why have I never heard of? Like, this is like, these are like all meant to be used in the context of like an internal service, right? Oh no, it answered me. So let's talk about that. So regarding products like Deep Racer, why haven't I heard of this sort of thing? Typically, who are the privileged few that have things like that integrated in their lifestyles? So it's like a marketing tool, right? AI powered machine learning focused racing car might not be because these are specific audience are designed for a niche audience. But like, where do you even learn about this? I've never even heard about this before this video. Yeah, and you gotta pay to use it. I mean, I do this like for a kid maybe or something, but I mean, this isn't the price of a toy, is it? I don't know what toys are like nowadays. I just tend to not think of a toy as costing almost $300. But it sure looks like one. Alright, so let's keep going.
Look at a few other essential tools that are used by a wide variety of developers. For security, we have IAM, where you can create roles and determine who has access to what on your AWS account. If you're building a web or mobile app where users can log into an account, Cognito is a tool that enables them to log in with a variety of different authentication methods and manages the user sessions for you. Then once you have a few users logged into your app, you may want to send them push notifications. SNS is a tool that can get that job done. Or maybe you want to send emails to your users. SES is the tool for that. Now that you know about all these tools, you're going to want an organized way to provision them. CloudFormation is a way to create templates based on your infrastructure in YAML or JSON, allowing you to enable hundreds of different services with the single click of a button. From there, you'll likely want to interact with those services from a front-end application like iOS, Android, or the web. Amplify provides SDKs that can connect to your...
Man, my mind is going a mile a minute with this, because like just this deep racer, like this could do all your yard work. Like you could set, you'd need a bigger form factor than this, but like even like you could probably take the guts out or whatever and put it and change the form factor yourself, right, in some way. And then it would mow your lawn, it would take the garbage out, it would just do all these automated tasks all over your house and lawn. It sounds hard though. Doesn't sound like a weekend project.
Infrastructure from JavaScript frameworks and other front-end applications. Now, the final thing to remember is that all of this is going to cost you a ton of money, which goes directly to getting Jeff's rocket up. So make sure to use AWS Cost Explorer and budgets if you don't want to pay for these big bulging rockets. That's the end of the video. It took a ton of work, so please like and subscribe to support the channel, or become a pro member at Fireship.io to get access to more advanced content about building apps in the cloud. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Yeah, sometimes it's just hard to imagine how wealthy Jeff Bezos is. It's like, it's just, it's. I mean, just that $1 million for most people would be life changing. $5 million is enough money to invest in a stock market fund that will pay you in dividends. The average salary about $55K, $50K per year, just in passive income, collected from the dividends of your stock investment. If you have $5 million, you can put it all into some high dividend stock. So let's go to ChatGPT and let's name one high dividend stock. Name one high dividend stock.
As of my last update in April 2023, one well-known stock that historically paid a high dividend is AT&T Inc. Ticker symbol T.
Yeah, but let me say this. So I'm trying to understand wealth, and I'm trying to understand the differences between immense amounts of wealth and not much wealth at all. And one of the points I'm trying to make is that if you have even like $5 million, which is orders and orders and orders of magnitude lower than the amount somebody like Jeff Bezos would have. But the point I'm trying to make with that is that even if you have just that tiny, minuscule amount that is worth basically nothing, one of the things you can do with it is put it into a high yield dividend stock portfolio of some kind, and you can collect the average income a person makes working 40 hours a week of very difficult work where they don't really get to make a lot of choices and have a lot of freedom in their lives or see their family in the way they would like to. You can just invest that $5 million you have, and you don't have to work anymore for the rest of your life because you can pay all your expenses on your dividends. Can you help me make this point, please?
Absolutely. Your point touches on the concept of financial independence and how investment income, such as dividends from a stock portfolio, can provide a passive income stream that might replace the need for active work. Let's illustrate your point with some simplified numbers. Assuming someone has $5 million to invest and they put this money into a diversified portfolio of high-yield dividend stocks. If the average dividend yield of the portfolio is 4% per year, this is what the income scenario could look like. Annual dividend income. 4% of $5 million equals $200,000 monthly dividend income. $200,000/$12.16,666 for comparison, let's consider the median income for full-time wage or salary workers in the United States, as a proxy for average income, which, as of the last data before my last update, was around $50,000 annually. Annual median income. $50,000 monthly median income. $4,166 in this simplified example, the monthly dividend income of $16,666 from a $5 million investment significantly exceeds the monthly median income from active work, which is around $4,166. Here's what this comparison helps illustrate. Income replacement. The passive income generated from the $5 million investment could replace the active income from full-time work, offering financial independence to the investor. Quality of life. Without the need to work for income, the individual has the freedom to choose how they spend their time, whether that's engaging in hobbies, spending time with family, or pursuing other interests. Risk and management. Investing in dividend stocks comes with its own set of risks, including market volatility and the possibility of dividend cuts. Additionally, managing a large investment portfolio can require a certain level of financial acumen or the assistance of a financial advisor. Economic scale. While $5 million is indeed a lot less than the net worth of billionaires like Jeff Bezos, in this context, it's sufficient to generate an income stream that is multiples of the average worker's salary,
Right.
showcasing how significant even smaller fortunes can be in terms of generating passive income.
Exactly.
Impact of wealth concentration. The comparison also emphasizes the disparity in wealth and how the concentration of capital can lead to very different lifestyles and opportunities.
Right.
It's important to note that investment income can be subject to taxes, and living solely off dividends may require careful planning to ensure that the investment portfolio is not depleted, especially if the cost of living increases or if unexpected expenses arise. The example provided is idealized and does not account for many real-world factors that could affect investment returns, such as inflation, tax implications, market downturns, or changes in company dividend policies. Nonetheless, it serves to illustrate the broader concept of how accumulated wealth can translate into financial freedom and how passive income can potentially replace active income from labor.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying, and I was wrong. If you do this strategy with $5 million, you'll make 4 times the what somebody's working 40, 60, 80 hours a week more realistically, and things like commute time is not included. So it's going to be depending on what your commute is, it's not going to be 40 hours a week. And then the thing is, usually there's on-site lunch that's required to occur during that time too. So it's at least 50 hours a week, even if you're in and out very seamlessly for a full on-site job working. And if you simply just were given $5 million, so we can even scale that down. If you were given about $1 million, more than that, like $2 million, you just invest it and you get checks sent to you. And that's how you pay your expenses, by having checks sent to you in the mail or directly deposited into your account. So you can either do that, or you can work for 50 hours, 60 hours a week, however long it takes to actually have that billable 40 hours. So yeah, anyway, I'm off traffic, and I'm not sure how relevant this is to understanding AWS services, which was the goal of this. But it's just something I can never really like wrap my mind around that. It's just there's just nothing. I just feel like, yeah. Anyway, I'm tempted to ask more questions about it. Let me ask one more thing. Okay, so make me a specific plan so I can make the average income, or even just smaller that. Do this for me, please. So come up with a plan so that my basic expenses for food, water, shelter, maybe a little bit of entertainment, like a personal budget, monthly budget that can allow me to live a pretty awesome life. So make me a plan so that all of those basic expenses are covered just by receiving checks, income, money from my investment. So tell me how much I would need up front to set this up, and then give me a plan to go ahead and set this up.
Creating a plan to cover basic expenses through investment income requires several steps, including establishing your monthly budget, calculating the required investment principal, choosing the right investments, and potentially consulting with a financial advisor for personalized advice. Here's a general plan to get you started. Step 1. Determine your monthly budget. First, you'll need to calculate how much you spend each month. This can vary greatly depending on your lifestyle, location, and personal needs. Let's say, for example, your monthly budget is $3,000. This would include housing, rent/mortgage, utilities, food and groceries, health insurance and medical expenses, transportation, car payments, gas, public transit, entertainment and personal spending. Savings for unexpected expenses. Step 2. Calculate the required investment principal. To determine how much money you need to invest, you'll need to decide on a safe withdrawal rate or a target dividend yield. A common rule of thumb for a safe withdrawal rate is the 4% rule, which suggests that you can withdraw 4% of your investment principal per year. For dividend investing, let's target a 4% yield, which is reasonably achievable without taking on excessive risk. Here's the math based on the 4% yield. Annual budget.
Yeah.
$3,000 x 12 months equals $36,000 required principal. $36,000/0. 04 equals $900,000, so you would need to invest $900,000 to aim for an annual income of $36,000 from dividends. Step 3. Build a diversified investment portfolio. Next, you'd need to invest that principal into dividend-paying assets. Here are some considerations. Diversify across different sectors and geographic.
All right, I think that's it, but I just wanted to get this low end figure. Yeah, for under $1 million, you can set up a system where you're living in a low cost of living area, and your expenses in life, your food, water, shelters, some entertainment, living like a pretty solid life in a low cost of living area are covered by you getting checks directly deposited into your bank accounts. That's how you earn your money, is by automatically having income sent to you. You can do that for for under $1 million. So imagine what you could do if you had hundreds of billions of dollars. All right, so you can set up some AWS services, which we learned about in this video. So that's it for this video. I just went through this, completely completed it. I'm actually gonna end the video by marking it as done. So this is the video here. So I'll mark this as done. And then I might want to go. Let me do one more thing actually. Okay, yeah. So this might be. You know what? I'll just add this to the notes I've gotten. I might go back and read this later, but for now I'm not gonna read that out loud. I'm just gonna end the video. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.